What's up everybody, it's Matt from the house, and in this video we're going to show you how to trim your skins down to fit your split board perfectly when you've got it in touring mode. Let's check this out. Alright, so you just got your new split board and you got your skins, and we're going to put these things on there so while you're hiking up the hill and you got these things in touring mode, you're not going to slide backwards down the hill. But the one thing about these is that a lot of them are universal and they'll fit on pretty much any board. They've got clips on the tail, multiple positions, so you can hook them on there any way you want. They've got a little hook on the nose part of them that literally hook around the kind of like the corner of each ski, no matter what the shape is. But the big thing about them is that you do want these things to be trimmed properly width-wise. Through the middle of the board and through the middle of the ski, when you have it in touring mode, you don't want the skins actually hanging off the side. You actually want them just inside so the edge is exposed a little bit. And this is basically when you are hiking up and you're going sideways, if you do need to stick that edge in and get a little bit of grip, you want that edge to be exposed so it can get into the snow, get into that harder, icier conditions. But again, the skins are going to be not exactly the same because all boards are different. They have different widths, and when you split them apart, the side cuts, everything's going to be a little bit different. And we want that skin to fit perfectly right along the side, but just inside the edge. So this is a pretty easy thing to do. The first thing we're going to want to do is obviously split the board in half. Go ahead and unhook and split it apart so you have those two skis basically that you're going to use when you are touring. And then the skins themselves are actually going to be pretty much a right and a left. So you can actually see that there is kind of a shape to them, and they're gonna fit on the board only one way. And if you're not sure which one goes on which ski, it's pretty easy. Once you hook this thing on the nose, obviously sticky side down, once you get that thing clipped on there and you pull the skin down, you'll kind of notice that this obviously, when that hook is hooked on there and you're pulling it straight down, this obviously doesn't go on this ski. If we try to straighten it up, you can kind of see up at the tip there that it's definitely off, and it definitely just doesn't look right. So then you can kind of obviously know that this goes on your other ski. When we hook that thing around the nose and we pull it straight down the ski, you can see that it does. It sits on there much nicer and it goes pretty much down the middle of the ski. Okay, so now you know which skin goes on which ski. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is you're actually gonna wanna get this thing kind of mounted on there and get that tail clip adjusted so it's on there nice and snug. So again, keep it hooked up on the nose there, and then set the ski down, and we're gonna adjust this tail piece. So it's pretty easy. You basically wanna have this thing, it clips on the side and it kind of clips on the end of the board too, and it doesn't fit exactly perfect, and this rubber band is not gonna be exactly straight, but again, you basically all you're gonna do is kind of stretch it a little bit, and we're gonna kind of hook it around the end. And we want to make sure that we do have to pull it a little bit. You don't want to have to fight this thing into position, but you do want to have to pull it and get it snug. So depending on your skins that you have, it's a pretty simple adjustment. Just go ahead and adjust that. So again, once you have that thing hooked, you get it all set, you do have to give it just a tiny bit of a pull and get it stretched so it is snug on the end of the ski. Okay, so once you have that adjusted and you're all set, the next thing is to actually stick the skin down to the ski. So we're gonna go ahead and pull it off. You're gonna pull the backing off of the skin, or if the skins are just stuck together, you can obviously just pull them apart, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this thing set. So what I always like to do is when you're actually getting this thing set, hook it on the nose, hold it off of the ski, and then if you've obviously got a table, kind of hold it away from you and hold it up, and you can actually look straight down the ski now, and you can actually make sure that you get that thing lined up just perfectly on the inside there. And we want to make sure that we push from tip to tail and make sure that there's no wrinkles in it, and make sure that you got that thing set just right. So you can see that basically I have some overhang on the side cut part of the ski. So that's the part that we're gonna need to trim. On this one, it's actually pretty straight on the inside, so I'm not gonna have to trim this side of the skin. So now the next thing we're gonna do is we wanna make sure that the edge is showing a little bit. So we're gonna trim this side what we're gonna wanna do is we're actually gonna wanna set the inside so that line right along the edge, we're gonna wanna set that so it's not just one edge width, we're gonna wanna set it about 2 edge widths in a little bit. So what we're gonna do is peel that up, and we're gonna do the exact same way that we set it, but when we set it down this time, again, kind of keep an eye on it, and you can literally set it right down and look straight down that flat edge and get that thing set. So again, we're about 2 edge widths. So basically the edge of the inside, that flat edge, and then you're gonna wanna see about an edge width of the base too. So then again, make sure that we've got that thing pushed down nice and smooth, and again, go from tip to tail, because obviously this thing is rough the other way. And then once you get that thing set, go ahead and clip the tail. All right, so now that we've got that edge set and we cut this, we know that obviously we are gonna move it over a little bit, but we know that we're cutting off enough that we're gonna have a little bit the edge showing on this side, and we're gonna have the edge showing on this side. So when you go to cut, it's actually pretty easy. So some of the skins do come with a tool, whether it's just like a razor blade style tool, or some of them actually have a pretty cool tool that actually goes right on the board and you kind of set it and slice it right down. But definitely check the instructions before you use one of those, because a lot of those are actually preset to cut at an edge width, which basically you're gonna go back 1 step, and we're gonna leave this so you can only see the edge. You're not gonna need to kind of, overcompensate to cut for both edges with that one, because it will. Once you actually have it set right against the edge here, it's gonna cut for an edge width over there. But again, it doesn't have to be super, super precise, but you wanna get it as close as you can so you can see a little bit of the edge on both sides. But again, follow the instructions. Now when we go to cut this, it's pretty easy. You can actually look and you'll see that we have all this extra material. The sticky material is, kind of hanging off the edge of the ski. And we're basically gonna cut it just with the regular razor blade. Make sure you have a very, very sharp razor blade, but also make sure that you're very, very careful when you do this. You're gonna wanna set this thing down on a flat surface with the edge that you're gonna be cutting hanging off. And we're basically gonna take the razor blade and we're gonna set it right against kind of on a 45-degree angle on the edge of the board. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna come straight down and we're going to slice into the skin. And it's basically gonna push, constant pressure right against the edge, 45-degree angle, and slide it right down. And you'll notice that as we do that, it cuts very, very, very easily. You basically slide that all the way down. And again, not a super, super hard thing to do. Just be very, very careful. Go kind of slow, and 1 cut. Very, very easy. Now, the next thing I always do too is when you're cutting this thing, you got a little bit of that foam and that fuzz on there that basically gives you that grip. You're gonna have a little bit on the edge there. So a little bit of a pro tip. Once you cut this piece off, before you throw it out, just take that sticky and literally stick it. Kind of use it like a lint remover, like you're using tape to get lint off of your shirt. And you can use it to kind of clean up that edge and get some of that extra fuzz that kind of came off when you cut it. So now we don't need that. Throw that in the garbage. I can't believe I actually made that. And then what we're gonna do after that, now we've got that thing cut, we're gonna go ahead and unhook, peel it back up, again, all the way to the tip. Do the same thing, we're gonna hold that thing up. We're gonna watch that inside, and we're gonna run this thing right down the middle of the ski and get it set. Again, make sure there's no wrinkles. And then when you look at it, you'll see that you've got the edge showing here, the edge showing here, even a little bit of the base. It's not bad. We obviously don't want it in super, super far, but it's okay if it's not right up against the edges. That's exactly what you want. So you'll notice that right through the middle of the ski, we've got 0 overhang anywhere, and your skin is cut perfectly and ready to go. So then obviously once you've got that done, you're gonna do the exact same thing, just opposite for your other ski, and then you're ready to ride. If you got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We wanna make sure we get you into some rad gear, but we wanna make sure that you can get it set up right and make sure that you can get out and use it properly too. Also make sure to like, subscribe, definitely get that bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a new split board, some skins, get them cut, and get out and ride. Because any day of riding is a good day of riding.